Hi, my name is Cameron Valdez, and my group consisted of Brenda Lopez, Ashmid Lozano, and Brandon Villasenor. Our group chose The Heartbreak Kid, directed by Elaine May in 1972. After marrying a woman he barely knows, Lenny and his newly wedded wife, Lila, travel to Miami on their honeymoon. However, on this trip, Lenny realizes that Lila isn't the right woman for him, and he meets this other woman, Kelly, who is this pretty girl from a rich family. From then on, Lenny does everything he can to avoid Lila. He decides to win over Kelly and her father rather than the woman he's on his honeymoon with. Throughout this presentation, we'll be describing how the Heartbreak Kid follows many of the common romantic comedy characteristics. This film reflects the changing values of a countercultural movement and displays traditional and non-conforming differences of classical Hollywood. For our first topic, we chose the subgenre of romantic comedy. A romantic comedy is a movie or a play that deals with love in a light or humorous manner, which we see play out in this film in many different ways. Lenny falls for a woman named Kelly while on his honeymoon with his wife, Lila. Lenny is so infatuated with Kelly that he tells her he's been waiting for a woman like her and his marriage was timed wrong with Lila. Throughout the film, he tells Lila that she has her whole life ahead of her and she's only 22 because he wants to break it off with her to be with Kelly. This film is a mixture of romance and comedy. It's a love story that starts out nice but ends very badly as Lenny breaks up with Lila for someone he considers to be more attractive. This film is a quest for love in a comedic style manner. Our second topic addresses the changing values this film has as a countercultural movement. This movie makes marriage out to be something that's simple and easy to give up on, when marriage is meant to be a commitment that two people work on. This film breaks the meaning of marriage and turns it into a joke. The main character meets and marries a beautiful woman. However, on his honeymoon he gets to know his wife better and believes he's made a mistake in marrying her too quickly. He realizes he's in love with this other woman he meets while on their honeymoon and decides to neglect his marriage and go after Kelly instead. This goes against the cultural values at the time and makes marriage and divorce seem like a simple thing to be signed away and broken. The Heartbreak Kid used traditional and non-conforming elements of classical Hollywood. Star lighting was used to focus our attention on the new, young, and pretty Kelly Corcoran. When we first see Kelly on screen, the sunlight highlights her face as Lenny looks up at her. This use of light hints at the importance of her character throughout the film. She immediately becomes Lenny's newfound love interest, and he's so infatuated with her that he neglects his wife for the rest of their honeymoon. This film is a character-centered story where we are mainly presented with the main character's perspective. We mostly see Lenny's perspective from the beginning as it tends to follow Lenny around more and focus on his reactions. We hardly see the camera on anyone else when Lenny isn't around or mentioned. The use of sound is traditional to classical Hollywood because its dialogue always takes precedence over the other sounds in the movie. Although there may be chatter, background noise, and music, the dialogue is always able to be heard and is the center of attention. Non-traditional elements of classical Hollywood. The Heartbreak Kid doesn't follow the respective rules of the institution of marriage as we discover with Lenny. Although they had conventional methods implicated in their marriage, such as waiting to have sex, Lenny doesn't love Lila for who she is once he's with her on their honeymoon. He begins losing interest when Lila is comfortable expressing herself. Lenny finds himself using all of his attention on being with Kelly, who wasn't looking for anything serious in the first place. He gets an annulment after only being with his wife for about a week and doesn't appear sympathetic to Lila. Although Lenny seems infatuated with Kelly, he jumped into another marriage quickly and seems unhappy during the wedding reception when he's by himself. The Heartbreak Kid is a perfect example of a film that's aligned with the countercultural movement and began to show how society's values were changing. The film used the romantic comedy subgenre to its advantage by making light of old-fashioned values like the institution of marriage. The film showed viewers that marriage isn't as sacred or as perfect as everyone once believed. Even though there were many influences of the classical Hollywood style in this film, the Heartbreak Kid made sure to lean away from as many of those influences as possible in order to show the people that beliefs were changing and that social norms were different now and people were going to conform to those in the end.